Howdy folks, welcome back. How about a Dodge for a change? This is a 2001 Dodge Ram 2500. It's got the 5.9 gas engine, 360. Has a little bit of a misfire and it blew out a brake line. So let's get her inside and see what we can do. So here's the brake line. It's the crossover that goes underneath the engine over to the right side brake caliper. Oh, I put a little band-aid on it, but didn't really help. She's pretty crusty. I see some of the other brake lines have already been replaced, so I'll have to go ahead and fix this one up. They have a coating on it, but the coating stops right about there where that brake hose is, and that's where it rusted out. So yeah, what are you gonna do? These Dodges, boy, they rust really bad, especially this vintage of Dodge. See, this one's been pretty well weight reduced. Let's go for the misfire first. The check engine light is on. It's not on and flashing, it's just on steady. We're going to use the snap-on scanner. I found that my Autel, the Max Assist 906, it has kind of a hard time doing misfires, especially on older domestic vehicles. It's pretty good on Asian stuff, but especially on Chryslers, it cannot even do misfire counters on a lot of models. So we'll use the Solus. Alright, I pulled the codes. This probably won't help us very much. We got misfire codes for cylinder 1, cylinder 3, and then looks like a thermostat, performance code, and some evap stuff. Now this truck still has a distributor, so it's probably going to be ignition related, but yeah, let's see if we can track it down. Alright, we're going to try to play around with the Pico. I'm not super good with secondary ignition waveforms, but we'll give it a go. So I got one set up on cylinder number 1 there, and the other is over here on the coil wire. That's funny. I accidentally found the problem. Got a bad coil wire. Better lucky than good, I guess. You'll see the computer just blank out every once in a while. That's the secondary ignition problem. So this truck just needs a tune-up. Needs a set of plug wires. I hear a massive vacuum leak over here. That's the purge valve. So I'd say we found our evap small leak. Yeah, there it is. Well, there's your problem, lady. Alright guys, I don't think the Pico scope's going to be much help to us. It keeps glitching out every time that the secondary ignition shorts to ground, which is happening all the time. So I say we go ahead and just load up the parts cannon and fire some plug wires at it. I bought plugs, wires, and a cap and rotor. So yeah, I say we just give it an old-fashioned ignition tune-up, and that should take care of this problem. And you can audibly hear the ignition shorting somewhere, so it doesn't really matter where. Yeah. And I don't know about this vacuum leak. I never got around to checking the fuel trims, but that couldn't have been helping anything. Alright, I pulled the coil wire off. Check this out. See that? Oh, it's torn right in half. So, there's your other problem, lady. I wonder if we could fix this. Do the old Russian repair, no parts required. Make Ivan proud. Let's see what happens. Now get ready. It's another tool you didn't know you needed to have. This is a set of crimpers just for spark plug wires. Let's try it, just for fun. That's way worse. Oops. I wonder if it's got the wrong boot on it. Well, that's the deal. It's got the wrong boot on it here. So this is a boot for an old point style distributor, and it's supposed to have this smaller one, the HEI style. So this is the replacement coil wire. It has these boots on either end, whereas the spark plug wires have the spark plug boots. So something must have happened to the original boot, and then this one got installed, but it's never going to work. It's just going to leak around that boot because it's way too big. So yeah, I got a new set of wires. We'll go ahead and throw those on. I'm going to replace the plugs as well. Truck's got 130,000 miles on it. It's probably got original plugs, so we'll just do that while we're at it. Well, what do you think? I'm saying it might be time. It's like that electrode is completely gone. Yeah, pretty sure they're original plugs. So OE spec was Champion. That's what I went with. The OEs are triple platinum. I can only get the double platinum, but it's got to be better than this. And none of the plug wires have come off in one piece yet. All the terminals have pulled out, so it's past due. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that. The posts inside this distributor are getting pretty crusty, and then the end of the rotor, so definitely time for a tune-up. Alright, new plugs, new wires, new cap, new rotor, new coil wire. And here, looks pretty good. Well, these spark plugs were pretty sad. The porcelain's actually broken off of that one, so it's been that way for a long time. Definitely past time. So let's fire it up, make sure we got the order right, and we'll put the airbox back on. Man, what a difference. It actually idles now. Guess we got the wires in the right spot. I'm charging up the AC system. We better do something about these battery terminals. They're looking pretty crusty. Let's try that again. This battery is 9 years old, so I'd say it's put up a pretty good fight. Alright, got this beast up on a rack. It's always fun with these long trucks. I think this is the longest wheelbase truck you could buy at the time. Anyway, I'll show you the brake line. So, right up there, and it goes into that tube that goes underneath of the front cross member. So it runs all the way along here, over, up, under, and into the brake hose. Now I ordered new brake hoses as well. You can see these are looking pretty shabby. So I've got the left side, I think, but I don't have the right side, or maybe it's the opposite way around. Anywho, I think where we'll start is trying to get the bleeders loose. That looks like it might be pretty fun. And then we'll go after that brake line. Now the brake hose is, the steel line part of the brake hose is a lot thicker material than a regular brake line. But yeah, these are way past their prime. Well, we'll try it. They really don't look too awful bad. I think we've got a chance. Oh, I may have spoken too soon. Well, they're certainly not 10mm anymore. 3/8 is going to be our winner. Oh, come on, baby. Alright, let's try some heat. Oh yeah, there we go. That's all she needed. Good deal. Well, let's see if we can get this bolt out. I got the other 3 out, if you can believe that. Sweet. This is the inverted flare nut off of that brake line. I've got a new one, but I'll show you guys how we can get this old brake line out of here and reuse this. It's really not too hard. Now you see I just cut this one off with a pair of side cutters. So first thing, come over to your bench grinder. So clamp it up in the bench vise, and then this is a 3/16 brake line, so we're going to use a 3/16 drill bit. There we go. That's it. So the drill bit will drill through all the rusty, crusty part of it, and then once it breaks through that, it'll catch on what's left of the brake line and spin it right out the end. This is an extra long nut, so it's got a big long area in here that was all rusted solid. That's why you'll never get them apart. Anytime you got to take these apart around here, you just plan on replacing the brake line. Okay, here's our new brake line. Looks pretty good. I'm using the ni-copp material, so it's a nickel copper alloy specifically made for brake lines. It'll handle the pressure of a steel brake line, but it's much easier to bend and it doesn't corrode. Well, last time I did a brake line video, I had a lot of questions about this hydraulic flaring tool I use. It says Mac Tools here, but this is actually a Master Cool set. I think it's about $400 for this kit. This will do inverted flare, bubble flare, push connect fuel line, GM fuel line, and it can also do the GM transmission cooler lines if you get the additional dies. Now this is pretty extravagant for your average home gamer DIY guy. I recommend getting an inline flaring tool. They're not that much more expensive than the old T-handle style, and they make a lot better flares. So this brake line here has a bubble flare on the end where it goes into the ABS valve. Double flare there. So the last guy who was here to get around that problem just used a compression fitting. So we'll get rid of that. All right, let's see if we can pry this brake hose off without destroying everything. Oh yeah, no problem. Let's not get too optimistic about this guy. Can't believe that came out of there. I think it's been almost 10 weeks since we had measurable rain, sometime in June. Even when we had the derecho come through, we didn't really get any rain out of that deal. But it's making up for it now. We've had 6 inches of rain in the last 48 hours. So that's 150 millimeters of rain in 2 days. So we're basically getting 2 months worth of rain in one weekend. Alright guys, I charged up the AC and the compressor and everything works fine. Problem is, nothing else works. The blower motor does nothing. I hear the mode door actuator running. Maybe. Sorry, it's pretty dark in here. Well, it looks like there's a blower motor relay on the hot side of the blower motor. That's in the PDC, so Power Distribution Center. And then there's a regular blower motor resistor inside this AC heater control that controls the ground side. So I don't know what's easiest to get to. I think maybe we just pop open that power distribution box and check for power on this relay. Alright, I think the blower motor relay is going to be this guy right here. Come on. So we can drop in our relay tester. Right there. Okay, this relay should be hot and run, so anytime that the ignition is on, should have power here. That's good, good, good. Well, let's see, if I'm reading this right, we should have power at 3 out of 4 pins. So 1, 2, 3, and then we should have a ground at the other pin. So let's see here. Hook this up to power. There it is. So I think we've got what we need on the power side. Let's figure out what's going on the ground side. Alright, so I think we can say we have power up to the blower motor. The blower motor relay is working. I don't think we have a ground problem. So you see this G201 right here. I think that's okay because the illumination works and the air conditioning works. So this right here is the control side of the air conditioning. So it goes through the high pressure switch, the low pressure switch, whatever, evap switch or whatever. And the compressor runs. So I don't think we have a ground problem. Also, I don't think it's a blower motor resistor, although I'm not 100% sure, but normally when those blow, you still have high because, yeah, if you see the path here, it goes right through, you know, it basically bypasses the resistor when you're in the highest setting. So I think we just go right for the blower motor itself, see what's going on. If we have power here, then it's probably just got a bad motor. Oh, that's a dragonfly. But he's not the only unhappy critter in the shop today. I know, pup. I can't make it stop raining, buddy. Cheer up, buddy. Can't rain forever. Although it is supposed to rain all week. So you might want to get used to it. Alright, we're looking for a DG and a BLK/TN. So dark green and a black with tan wire for that blower motor. I went ahead and took the glove box out. I think our wires are going to be right here. But what the heck is this thing? Oh, it's a pen with a lamb on top of it. Okay, not what I was expecting to see. Oh, nope. Alright, I grabbed a couple of front probes from my AES Wave U test kit, where this thing's been my whole life, but it is fantastic. Anyway, we're front probed into that connector, and then I've got it hooked up to a test light that I made. So, kind of inspired by Eric O at South Main Auto. This is just a pigtail from some trailer wiring, and then I had these little sample cups for doing oil samples. I just cut the lid out and made it into a test light. So let me turn this key on. Alright, so there's high, and it doesn't work on any other setting. So yeah, classic scenario. What happened is the blower motor, something happened to it, the brushes are bad or the bearings are bad or something, and that has taken out the blower motor resistor. So it needs a motor and a resistor. I ordered a blower motor and a blower motor resistor. Should have those in the morning. That'll take care of that issue. And at that point we should have air conditioning, but they were saying they also don't have heat. Now I checked the mode doors. They're vacuum actuated. There's 3. There's a recirculation door, there's a vent door, and a defrost door. They all seem to be working. But I think I figured out why there's no heat, or at least part of the problem. There's no coolant. So, yeah, that's not good. Hopefully it doesn't have a bad head gasket or something. Well, I added a gallon of coolant. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Well, I don't see any signs on these spark plugs of a blown head gasket, you know, burning coolant. Really looked pretty good. A couple of these might be a little bit on the lean side, but we did have that big vacuum leak, so that's not terribly surprising. But yeah, maybe it's just got a little pinhole leak somewhere. Alright, we got our new brake hoses installed, new bleeders. Our one new brake line that runs under the engine. Looks pretty decent. And a new brake hose and bleeder on the other side. Well, the rear caliper bleeders came loose, no problem. I'm guessing they were replaced at some point. So these rear axle brake lines look pretty good. But somebody's already replaced the long brake line that runs back here to the back. Of course, it's already pretty crusty again, but it has been replaced. And we've got all new brake lines from the ABS valve down to the frame rail. So no more Scotty Kilmer approved compression fittings. I think for the first time ever, I actually have the right adapter for my power bleeder. Cool. Man, this brake fluid was nasty. Looks like used diesel engine oil. Got the old blower motor out. Not too bad of a job. It's just 3 screws up into the bottom of the heater box. It was actually locked up when I first pulled it out. I managed to get it broken free, and it doesn't feel too bad. But we're gonna go ahead and replace it, just, you know, for peace of mind. They're not that expensive. And then I'm also gonna replace the fan, because a lot of times you'll destroy these trying to get them off. Here's the blower motor resistor. It lives in the heater box right next to the blower motor. It's clearly seen better days. Kind of an interesting mechanism here for the thermal fuse. So they just have this kind of springy element here, and it's soldered to this link. And I guess whenever the link, this shunt or link or whatever you want to call it, gets too hot, draws too much current, it melts the solder and the little thing springs out and you lose your connection. So yeah, get a new one of those too and should take care of our problems. Alright, got our new blower motor. Appears to have the right connector and a new blower motor resistor. We do have to reuse this little housing, the little gasket, and then this little hose here. So that vents the back side of the motor where the brushes are. Well, are you guys ready for a shocker? The blower motor still doesn't work. Well, it does work, but it only works on high. So, looking at the wiring diagram here, this circuit works. So coming down here, bypassing the resistor, going right through the switch to ground, that works. But everything to do with the resistor doesn't work at all. So what I just did, I set up a test light here. The dark green wire there is the power coming into the blower motor, running through a test light and into the connector to the blower motor resistor. And I confirmed that the control part of it here is working. So we're grounding each one of these wires going into the resistor, but it's not making the blower motor work. So I think we're going to find a problem on this wire right here, possibly at this connector, C237, or we just have a bad new resistor. Well, this is fun. So here's that connector right here, C237. I just unplugged it, plugged it back in, and now the blower motor works. So I'm going to take this apart, clean up the terminals, maybe spray some contact cleaner on there, and then we should be done. Freaking Dodges. Well, I think it's a good time to try out a new tool. You guys ever watch Ivan at Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics? The guy is absolutely brilliant when it comes to diagnosing cars. Anyway, he had a set of these in a video, and I thought they were pretty clever, so I picked some up for myself. These are diamond-tipped tweezers, and they're made specifically for cleaning electrical terminals. See the little picture here on the back, give you an idea of how they're used. I haven't tried them myself, but they seem to do a good job for him, so let's see what happens. I'll try to put a link in the description where you guys can buy these or something similar. And also, the grip mat. I finally got the discount code working. I'll put that down here and then again in the description where you guys can just copy it. Should get you 10% off of any kind of grip mat product if you so choose. Okay, let's try it here. Oh man, I hate dealing with connector pin fit issues. Gosh, they don't look bad at all. Alright, which one are we looking for? Black with tan. Guess that's that guy right there. Boy, I don't see anything wrong with it. This is what sucks about doing diagnostic work and why mechanics hate working on Dodges. Because, you know, diagnostics is all about finding the things that are good and ruling them out in an effort to find the thing that is bad. But it's really hard to diagnose a system where everything is bad. You know, like on this truck. A bad blower motor. We know that. It was locked up. A bad resistor. We know that. The thermal fuse was obviously blown. And then put it all back together and it still has electrical problem. Alright, try some contact cleaner. And we'll try a little bit of dielectric grease. It's kind of a crutch, but this is a non-sealed connector, so might be helpful. Okay, success. Freaking Dodges. Let's take this beast for a ride. Oh yeah. Come on, go into gear. Don't be a Dodge. See, we got an ABS light on. May have to do something about that. Old girl runs pretty good. Boy, it's all over the road. You can't really steer it. It's kind of like herding it around. The alignment's way off. Heat's working though. Nice and toasty in here. It's probably going to run like crap for a while until those fuel trims reset from that great big vacuum leak that it had. I'm not sure what to make of this. These are the active codes for the ABS module. It just keeps toggling between no codes present and an open circuit for the internal relay, internal pump motor. Yeah. So I don't know what we're going to find with that. Max, we're not going for a ride, buddy. Alright folks, I solved the mystery on the ABS light. Talked to the customer. They said it's been disabled intentionally. So if you look here, it should be a 40 amp fuse for the ABS. And you will see that that J-case fuse is missing. So I guess I had a bad wheel speed sensor or something and it was making the brakes kind of work erratically, so they just disabled the ABS and they do not want to fix it. So that's fine. We'll just forget about that. So I think we're done with this truck and Max is done with this rainy weather. Hop up. That's probably fine. Alright folks, there you go. Working on a 2001 Dodge Ram 2500. I think we fixed the major problems. The broken brake line, the engine misfire, the vacuum leak, the air conditioning, the HVAC blower motor, the blower motor resistor, whatever else we did to this thing. I mean, it's still a Dodge. Nothing we can do about that. But for now, it's time to go down the road. So thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. And don't worry about that little guy. We'll talk about that later. I'll throw all this crap in the trash. But this guy, that's a keeper.